I'm going to go ahead and open the meeting and just uh, let everybody know that this meeting is not being broadcast live, but it will be available for replay. It is being recorded. So welcome everybody to the Wednesday, April 9th special meeting of the school committee.
Hi.
We are now called to order. Just want to make sure that everybody can hear us since we're remote. I know Susan.
I'm good.
Yep. Kyla.
Yes.
Jamie.
Yep.
Chris.
Yes.
And then we have Dr. Kavanaugh here as well. Can you hear us, Carol?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start with the Director of Student Services position and where we are in trying to form a subcommittee for the next piece. And
Sure.
if you could explain a little bit just about the hiring process, where we are in the timeline, and then we can discuss school committee composition.
Sure thing. So as you know, we need to hire a Director of Student Services. And I think the interesting part about this process is that while I'm involved in this hiring process, the next superintendent will be the person who is working most closely with this Director of Student Services. So I want to be very transparent and say that Evan Bishop and I are working very closely in this process. We are pretty much doing the exact same thing that we did last time. There is a group of administrators who is screening the applicants. I think last time Mr. Lebrad and I screened the applicants, but this time because we're working with Evan, Evan and I are there, Mr. Lebrad, Mrs. Rothermick, and Dr. Ghosh. So we have been looking at them. And I think on Monday I had sent you sort of a timeline that we can go through. And as you know, we are probably a little bit under the gun in terms of timing because Mrs. Hanscom's last day in the district will be June 30th. So right now, we have 14 applicants and the posting will close this Friday, April 11th. The interesting thing is that last time we did this, we had 12 applicants, and I think we put 5 forward to the large panel last time, and I think this time we'll probably come up with about the same number. It's interesting when you read through because as you're reading, you start to realize that people aren't sure exactly what a Director of Student Services does. So you have folks who will apply and they don't know exactly what the position is that they are applying for. So there were, I don't know, maybe about 7 folks in there right now who are like kind of credentialed and viable. So we should finish the screening process by Monday. And then the plan is, as I shared with you last Monday, that we'll have that large panel interview team, just like we did last time, come to the central office. The makeup of that team is pretty much set right now. We just need a couple of school committee members, but I can tell you the roles. I won't tell you the names of the people. But we have 2 school committee members, 1 CPAC member, 1 additional special education parent, a building principal and a building assistant principal, a special education team chair, 1 of the special education directors for curriculum instruction and assessment. We have 2 teachers, 1 who is a moderate special educator and another who is an intensive special educator. We have a related services provider and then someone who works in an administrative kind of secretarial capacity in the student services office. So there will be 12 people altogether in that subcommittee. So on Thursday, April 17th, the week from tomorrow at the central office, that large panel that I just described will gather, they'll interview the candidates, and then they can offer feedback to me, to Mr. Bishop, Mr. Lebrad, Mrs. Rothermick, and Dr. Ghosh. And then we'll do exactly what we did the last time. We'll select some of the people that you interview and put them forth for a Meet the Candidates night on the evening of Tuesday, April 29th. And at that time, we'll do what we did last time so that we'll have the candidates meet with the school committee, meet with the CPAC, meet with teachers, faculty, staff, administrators, and then have an opportunity to just kind of go through those groups. So, and then the people who are there will have an opportunity to fill out feedback forms, and that's always very helpful to us as well. So I think tonight the two tasks at hand are to appoint two members of the school committee to serve on the interview panel and then vote that 12 panel group to be a subcommittee of the school committee. Hopefully, we will have a successful candidate to bring to you on the evening of May 1st when we have a school committee meeting. And at that time, we could disband that subcommittee of the school committee.
Great. So just want to highlight one difference for people at home in the hiring of the Director of Student Services, which is that the school committee actually votes on the recommendation, whereas with other hires that you bring forward, we are just voting on the appropriating the money for the salaries, as you know, but I'm not sure everybody at home realizes that difference. Do people have any questions first?
I do.
Yes.
So when Ms. Hanscom sent her notice, she said that in her email that she was retiring September 2025. But I understand from an email that Carol sent that the contract only goes to the end of June. So is there a reason for that discrepancy?
Well, I can't surmise what Mrs. Hanscom's plans are, but yes, her contract does expire on June 30th, 2025. She has indicated that she has no interest in renewing that contract, and I don't think it would be in the best interest of the district to do that either if the retirement date is September, simply because these jobs typically run July 1 to June 30th. So if you were a person interested in the job and we weren't going to hire you till September 1st, when people knew that you had the job, your school district wouldn't want to pay you anymore from June 30th to September 1. So there would be a time that you may not be being paid. So what also happens when people retire, sometimes they'll retire at the end of a contract, but they wait until, say, September 1st because that might be their birthday. And so if you know anything about the way retirement works in Massachusetts, it's a combination of your age and your years of service. So it might be that that is the month during which it's her birthday. I don't know if it is or not, but it's her intent to fully retire then.
How would we handle that if she wanted to stay until September? Would we pay her some kind of stipend, or would she just be volunteering her time?
So I don't think that I would so one thing that our former HR director used to say all the time is you can't suffer or permit. So you really can't allow people to kind of come in and work at the old job without compensating them financially. But again, just because of the timing, I don't think that I would recommend that we extend that contract because it would limit the potential candidates that you have coming into the position. Does that mean that the district wouldn't say to Mrs. Hanscom, if we would like you to come in and show the new person, how the grants are working, how transportation works, those kinds of pieces, maybe, and we would think about doing that on a per diem basis.
That would be excellent.
My concern was if we don't move quicker and move later, is that good candidates could choose to go with another school district.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't
We
sound
want
like
the
it makes
best
sense.
candidate.
It doesn't sound like it makes sense to delay the hiring. My question was because of the timeline that Abby's email had said. And so I don't, that I know of, have access to look at the contract. So I didn't know when the contract ended. So that was information that I didn't have.
Mhm. Yes.
So thank you for clarifying.
Sure. Yeah, and just to talk a little bit more about what Kyla just said, it really is difficult to find a super highly qualified director of student services anywhere these days. So having 14 applicants feels good. I do think that moving expeditiously is a good idea.
It sound from what you said that our pool is actually down to what, about 7 who have the special ed component we need?
Yeah, so you do have to have the special education administrator license. And then, of course, we look at people's work history and, you're probably better off if you've had someone who's done the job for some time rather than if you have someone, who may never have done the job.
Mm.
And that doesn't mean that there aren't people who this would have to be their first time being a director of student services. That surely is true. And you can find people who are very competent to do that work. And they typically come from, other special education positions within an organization and just kind of know the drill.
All right, so are there any other questions before we move into talking about who would like to serve in this capacity? Okay, so who is both available and interested and willing to serve on this subcommittee? Jamie is one. Is there another person who would be interested and available?
Chris, would you be available? Or Kyla?
What's the time commitment look like?
So it's Thursday, April 17th, and you'd have to be in the central office for maybe like 4 or 5 hours. It would probably run from about 10 to 3-ish.
I'm traveling next Wednesday through Sunday for work.
I'm out. I'll be in Florida at a graduation.
Oh, enjoy the warm weather.
Ugh.
That sounds great.
I am not able, I have to be at work that day.
Oh, did you say April 17th?
Yeah.
Yes. That would be
Oh.
a very early very
Yeah,
early
no,
graduation.
it's May.
Okay.
I just made the decision today. Kyla, are you
Hold
a
on.
bit?
I'm looking right now. Hold on, sorry. The 17th. I could do that.
Okay.
Fabulous. All right, so then I would look for a motion to appoint Kyla and Jamie to serve as the school committee members in the interview panel for the Director of Student Services.
I move that Kyla and Jamie serve as the school committee representatives on the screening committee for the student services director.
Okay, so it's not exactly a screening committee, it's a subcommittee interview panel.
Subcommittee.
Okay,
I move to,
fabulous.
okay. Do I have to say it all again?
I think we'll take that as a friendly amendment if that's
Okay.
acceptable to you. All right,
Fine.
so a motion by Susan. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second by Jamie. We'll do a roll call starting with you, Chris,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Kyla,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
and I am a yes. So that fixes that part. The other thing that we need to do is just procedurally to establish this as a subcommittee, and that would also require then that members be sworn in at town hall. Is there somebody who would like to make a motion to create the subcommittee as outlined by the composition as outlined by the superintendent?
I'll make a motion that we create a subcommittee to hire the Director of Student Services as outlined by the Superintendent Kavanaugh.
So just a friendly amendment, the subcommittee is not actually hiring. It's an interview.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
just in terms
To
of, that's
interview.
okay. As the subcommittee interview panel.
I second.
Okay, motion by Kyla, a second by Susan. We'll do a roll call again, starting with Chris,
Yes.
Kyla,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. So that creates that subcommittee. And then Kyla and Jamie, if you guys want to go get sworn in sometime between now and the 17th, that would be great. And then Carol, if you can ask the rest of the group to also go get sworn in, I will provide the list to Connor,
Oh, that's
our
great.
town
Thank
clerk.
you.
So,
Okay.
right. So at this point, I would seek a motion to enter into executive session, and somebody who would be willing to read the the reason for the executive session off the agenda.
Right, I'm gonna
Good
go.
night. Thank you, Carol.
Good night, Carol.
I move into executive session to comply with or act under the authority of MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, for the purpose of discussing strategy with respect to contract negotiations with the superintendent candidate, because discussing an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the school committee's bargaining position, and to adjourn in executive session.
Thank you. Motion by Jamie. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Second by Kyla. We'll start with you, Chris.
Yes.
Kyla,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. So we'll adjourn out of this group into executive session at 7:17. The link for the executive session is in an email that Georgette sent out. Does everybody have it?
Yes.
Okay, I will see everybody over there in a minute.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.